Are you able to hear me?
Hear you? I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. So
Am I loud and clear?
yes, but the thing is, we could not connect the mic to the laptop, the Zoom laptop.
It's okay. It's
So
okay.
try try to manage this over the
Uh-huh.
laptop. I'll just ask the participants to gather in front of the laptop, and
Okay.
I th- uh, we just had a close discussion with
Acha.
two groups as we had planned. One group
Okay.
was specifically for the child who stammers, like those parents who had a
Yeah.
child who stammers, and the other group was a general group. Uh,
Hmm.
in in our group, in which we had a child who stammers, right? Uh, I
Yes.
think the overall question or concern was only one thing, okay, that these people have a child who stammers, and it's a age like 6, 7, 8, or 10-year-old who stammer, and the parent who stammers is concerned ki what should we do, okay.
Yes.
Sometimes they try too hard to tell
Hmm.
them this and that, okay. Some people say that, should we take them to a speech therapist. So overall the concern is what should we do with the a child who stammers at a very early age, like a, 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 s- a 6, 7, 8 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just ask them together
You can
and
take another 10 minutes if you need to fix up anything. Okay.
okay.
But
Yeah.
even this is fine. Even this
Fine.
is
Fine.
fine. Whichever way work
Okay.
for everyone.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Just give me 1 or 2 minutes.
आराम आराम
ठीक है.
से. Take your
Okay.
time.
Okay. So now what we can do is we have Dr. Sachin on Zoom on Skype. We can just gather in front of this camera so that he will be able to see us, and we can just see him on the screen.
My sincerest apologies for not being there. Harish, am I loud
You
and
can
clear?
hear? You can hear? No, I think we'll have to just close. Mic nahi hai. We'll have to just close
अच्छा.
him. Like, can somebody just
Okay.
call these people to arrange the mic? Can you please call? Mic hai, mic. Yeah, but okay. Can you try talking now?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. A huge welcome to all of you at Jaipur. आवाज आ रही है
Yeah.
साहब?
No, just a second. We are trying to fix the mic.
ठीक है. ठीक है. Has Amit Bajaj joined? Amit, hello. Hello.
Hello?
I can hear Amit loud and clear. But can people hear me loud and clear?
Can you just speak and try once more?
Yes. Yes. Guys, everyone, a huge welcome, and my sincere apologies for not being there. I'm in Leh, and I just could not get out of this place. But the main thing is you are there. So once again, welcome to all of you on behalf of TISA. Over to Harish.
Okay. So I am audible, right?
Yes, you are audible. Was
Okay.
I audible?
Yes, yes. I think you are audible this time. So
Great.
we had two discussions. The first group, which you can see now, was of uh, parent who stammers, and they have a child who stammers. And after the discussion, one thing which came into mind was the parent who stammer. Okay, they have a concern that if they have a child who stammer at a age around 6, 7, or
I think they're having technical problems, Sachin.
I thought it is my phone which is conking out.
No, no, the problem is with the live stream. I was actually looking at YouTube as well. They're not on right now. I mean, it's a blank screen. So they'll join. It's a technical glitch. They'll probably fix it.
I just want to update you what all we have discussed. There have been
Yeah.
two groups. One group have one group has got a child who stammers in their family, and they are the parents, and the other group has got no such children, but they've got some general concerns about family dynamics and parenting. So in the first group, they have distilled it to just one question: what can they do about their child who stammers? So I will request you to go first because you have gotten up so early in the morning. What what time is it there?
No, actually, it's not bad because they moved it out, right? Because it wasn't they moved it out a little bit, so it's almost 7 o'clock in the morning here.
Okay. Okay. And you got your morning cup of coffee?
Yes, yes, I got. I'm taking care of all that, so we're good. How are you doing? Everything okay with you?
Everything is fine. Everything is fine.
Okay.
I was I was
Yeah, why don't you? I can go first, or you can go first. I mean, whoever,
hello.
that's fine. This,
yes, Harish.
yeah, Harish.
Yes, Harish. हाँ, बोलिए. Harish, can you hear us? I think that two experts will continue talking to each other.
आवाज नहीं आ
I
रही है.
guess so. Yeah.
I can see you, Harish, now. Yes. आवाज आ रही है?
ऑन ही नहीं है वो शायद. नहीं नहीं ये वाला.
I can hear you.
फोन में हो सकता है ना, फोन कर ये डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया. हाँ इसमें
हाँ,
ऑन करेगा.
I can hear.
इस माइक से हो जाएगा. हाँ नहीं पर एक बार उनकी वॉइस नहीं बट उनको आवाज आनी है ना.
हाँ, हमें आवाज आ रही है.
उनको आवाज आनी है. इनकी वॉइस मेरी स्पीकर में जानी चाहिए ना. स्पीकर में बोलो ना स्पीकर.
God is very cruel to stammerers.
आप बोलो. सचिन सर आवाज आ रही
Yeah. हाँ, आवाज आ रही है.
है.
Yes.
यस यस ठीक. चेक चालू कर. So we have just managed to connect your audio on the loudspeaker. So now you are audible to all the people in the hall. Now we are just about to project it on the screen. Just give me.
Right.
Hallelujah. कनेक्ट कर दो एक बार उससे. ये ऑन नहीं है. ये ऑन नहीं है.
Hello.
प्रोजेक्टर से कनेक्ट कर दो एक बार. नहीं नहीं कैम कैम. उनको कुछ दिख नहीं रहा है. उनको कुछ ये तो फिर आपने हटा दिया वो तो खराब हो गया।
ये आपने हटा दिया ना इसलिए।
ये कैमरा वहाँ पर है। ये कैम का है?
नहीं माइक का
नहीं,
है।
ये माइक का है, ये नहीं। कैम का कहाँ पर है? कैम का ये कैम का यहीं पर है। ये शायद ऑफ है। ये ऑन नहीं हो रहा है।
यहाँ से ऑन है।
ये यहाँ पर ऑन है।
यहाँ से कैमरा ऑन है। वेबकैम ऑन है। ये तो
ये ऑन ही था, हाँ ये ऑन ही था, वहाँ पर ऑन ही था।
हम्म? Can someone record it also? Record the भैया उनको लाइट के लिए बता दो और बंद करने की लाइट। जो येलो लाइट्स है ना सारी बंद कर दो। स्टेज पे जो लाइट है पोडियम की सारी लाइट्स बंद कर दो। नहीं एक येलो वाली बंद करो पोडियम की। बस 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 ठीक है बहुत बढ़िया। एसी ना बंद।
Okay, I think we can start. Am I audible? Dr.
Yes, you're
Sachin
audible.
and
Yes, you are audible.
Dr. Amit, am I audible to you?
Yes, you are, Harish, but there's no video.
Yeah, we
I
are,
think
but I
I
think
think we'll just
in the meantime we
I think
can
we should,
continue. Yeah.
Amit, we'll have to make that sacrifice.
Huh? I mean, if that's required, that's fine. But if they can change it, it would be nice to kind of see the audience as well. But that's okay. That's all right. We'll work through it.
I can see you, you can see me. We should be happy with that.
Acha, I think now.
Okay, now we can see something. Yes, now we can see. Yes,
Okay, now you can see.
now we can see.
So, okay, let's quickly start the discussion.
Yes.
The group one. Okay, the group one discussion was specifically for parents who stutter and who had a child who stutters. Most of them they had child of around the age of 6, 7, 8, and 10 who stutter, and their concern was what is the role of a parent who stutters and what they should do when they see that their child stutters. And the child is the range of 6 to 10 of age. Yes, over to you, Dr. Sachin.
I'll go first. First thing, in case if I was not audible last time, I want to thank everyone for being in Jaipur, and I want to offer my apologies for not being there to welcome them personally. I just could not get out of Leh, so but I'm very happy to see all of you there. Just one thing I want to say before I pass the baton on to Dr. Amit Bajaj. Um, as a parent, the best thing you can do for your child is to be the change you want to see in that child. Be the role model. Instead of hiring a string of therapists for him, or spending a lot of money, the best thing which you can do is to be a role model, which means that you yourself must conquer your fear of stammering and do something constructive about it, and come out of that stuttering mindset, where stammering defines everything, success, failure, everything. And when you come out of that mindset, when you yourself are a role model, when you yourself have lost your fear of stammering, then you can really help your child a lot. And second thing I want to say, that remember, stammering children who are under 10-year old, like 6, 7-year old child, may require one kind of a communication or strategy. And the same child, when he enters the teens, will require very different kind of approach. because there he's dealing with two kind of problems. One is stammering, and second is individuation of his own personality. He's becoming an individual. He's no more your appendage or your dependent, but now he's becoming his own man or his own woman. He's in the process of that. He's no more a child, he is no more an adult, but he's somewhere there on the way. And therefore, a stuttering teen will require a very different kind of mindset and approach. And the only thing you can do about it is to educate yourself as much as you can. Over to Dr. Amit. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Namaskar. It's good to see you. Some familiar faces and some faces I wish I could get to know as well. Like as Dr. Sachin said, he wishes he was there. I wish I was there as well. But we're doing the best that we can. So a big warm welcome to you from Boston. I am. I completely agree with what Dr. Sachin said. I think the best thing that there are lots of best things that we can do. There are a whole lot of best practices, obviously. We may get time to cover some of them and some of them less so. But the foundational point is what Dr. Sachin articulated so eloquently, that be the role model for your child. And that means, getting in touch with your own stammering experience, your own anxieties, your own aspirations, all of those kinds of things, and staying connected with TISA would be sort of important as well. I also agree that the needs are going to change as the child, ages and develops. But there's two or three points additional to what Dr. Sachin said I want to emphasize. One is that I think the home should be a safe place for the child, the safest place for the child, the safest place to experienced, normalized hammering. So rather than put the child on the spot about, you're talking this way or that way or whatever, accepting the child's speech for what it is one of the most important things that we can do. Because everything flows from there. Everything flows from acceptance, which is the second point that I think a lot of us feel that if he had gotten help early on as a child, I think it would have, we are a lot, I think a lot of us feel that that would have changed our life experience quite a bit as we grew older and became adults. And speech therapy, at least in the West, and I don't mean to say that the West is like one monolith. Obviously, there's a lot of variety here as well. But the biggest point here is that the focus here in speech therapy is also shifting from a narrow focus on speech fluency to a much broader focus on communication skills. And I think developing, if you're seeking therapy for your child, make sure that the therapist knows particularly about what stammering is and how deep it is and how complex it is. I think part of the problem has been in speech therapy in the past is that we have had more of a superficial understanding that if you just change the speech behavior, first of all, those changes that we introduce in speech are actually going to stick. And secondly, that's going to take care of the whole problem. And that, of course, isn't true. We know about stammering being an iceberg. We know about stammering being very complicated. There's a part that you see, there's a part that you don't see. It's basically a lived experience. So I think certainly a child as they get older will need help with communication skills. And I think seeking out a speech therapist, or if that's the direction you want to move in, would probably be a good idea, but as long as the focus stays broadly on communication skills and not narrowly defined in terms of speech fluency, that would be my other recommendation.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Naveen and Dr. Sachin, for those insights. Uh, the next question, and which will be the last question for the today, is should we go to the speech therapist, and what is the right age to go to a speech therapist?
Do you want to take that, Dr. Sachin, or do you want me to do it?
You're the right person. Please go on.
The right age is any age where the child is experiencing stammering in a negative kind of a way. I mean, you've got therapy here begins as early as preschool years, as early as 3 or 4 years of age. At that point, we call it more indirect. There are more indirect components in therapy where the work is more targeted towards parents than it is towards the child. We know that children experience a lot more fluent speech during this early phase in life if they are in more collaborative communicative environments than they are in more competitive communicative environments. So speech therapy for little children as early as 3, 4 years of age can include a lot of parent counseling, can include a lot of work for parents, a lot of material for parents to read, to go through about how do you create a more collaborative communication environment. And that can mean just spending 10 minutes a day talking to your child, playing with your child in an unhurried kind of a way. So creating, no time pressure, not a lot of questions, really making communication fun and accepting, like, tolerating this stammering that is coming as well. So speech therapy at that very young age may not involve the child as much. It involves a lot more of the parent. And as of course stammering becomes more of a persistent condition and the recovery does not occur in a particular child, then of course speech therapy takes on a different kind of a form where now you're working more on communication skills.
Right. So to summarize, I think at any point of time when the child is, when we notice that stammering negatively affects the child, that is the right time to go to a speech therapist. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, that is certainly would be a very good time to seek help. Now, that could mean connecting with the stammering community. That could mean talking to a counselor. It doesn't necessarily have to be a speech therapist unless the speech therapist is fairly uniquely qualified to deal with stammering as a condition. Some speech therapists are, some speech therapists are not. So I think finding the right kind of resource is going to be important at any age and particularly important at that young age. Yes, so.
Yeah. So just to note, if you are contacting a speech therapist, see to it that he is qualified to attend or he knows about stammering or stuttering. Right. So I think I'll hand over to the group B, which was led by Dr. Shweta. Over to you, Dr. Shweta.
Thanks both of you for joining us. I would like to ask a question which our movement has asked, that what we should do if our child is embarrassed of our stammering. Our child is not the person who stammers, but the child may feel embarrassed in front of his or her friends or at parents' teacher meeting. What we should do at that time?
Shall I go ahead?
Please.
Um, I think uh, a very honest and open discussion with the child in a language which is appropriate to his or her age is the best course of action. You talk to the child and tell the child that okay, sometime I talk funny, but it doesn't mean that I'm sick, or it doesn't mean that you need to get worried about it. Some children may get worried that oh my God, my mother is having epileptic fit. So answer these kind of fears and concerns of the child. On the other extreme, child may imitate you. That also may happen because children are children. If that happens, there also you have to make them understand that why it is not such a good idea to imitate someone who stammers, whether they are child's parent or not. They may be total strangers. So even there, we have to help the child understand why imitating somebody's stammer is not a good idea, why smiling is not a good idea. And all this can happen only when it is preceded by a open discussion with the child in a manner and language which is appropriate to his or her age about what stammering is. So I think if this can be done, most children will cooperate. And and the important thing is, if you have already dealt with your own insecurities, with your own fears relating to speech and appearance of your speech, then this should not come as a big shock or as a big setback to you. You will still be able to love that child and work with that child. So therefore, I'll again emphasize that be the role model, educate yourself, practice what you want your child to be able to do it, to do. So that's all I would say. Thank you so much. Over to Dr. Amit. Do you want to add something?
No, I think you've summarized it very, very well. I think the only part I want to add something to is what you said, like talk to your child about what stammering is, and I think that's an important point, and that's actually a very important hook to change the child's perceptions about what stammering is. So I encourage people to just accept completely the fact that, we are wired in a different way. Genetically, neurologically, we are wired a little bit differently to produce fluent speech. Now, that is a very important concept because we're all wired differently for different things, right? I mean, when you're talking about neurodiversity, there is so much variation in each human function, whether it is reading skills or speaking skills or visual skills or hearing skills, or I mean, any function that you look at, any human function that you look at is on a continuum. There are people who can do it, well, people who can do it, who can do it with ease, and there are people who can do it with less at ease. So I think normalizing stammering and presenting it as a difference, it really respects and honors the notion that it is truly a neurodiverse condition. So you can talk about things about how we're all wired differently for different things. I mean, some child may be stronger at math, maybe less strong at something else, may have trouble with reading, may have trouble with something else. So we're all wired in a different way. So I, as your father, am wired differently for speech. Now, that's easy to say as a talking point, but I think this is where Dr. Sachin's recommendation is very important, that we have to work through our own insecurities and we have to work through our own anxieties and our own life experience to come to a point where we can actually make that point to our child in a very authentic kind of a way.
And I just want to add one more thing for the audience, that talking about stammering with your child can be easy if you have done it in other contexts and if you have been doing it in the past. Sometimes children ask very difficult questions, not difficult, but sometimes they may ask, मैं कहाँ से आया, मैं कैसे पैदा हुआ? Or they may ask the parents, why do you sleep together? So sometimes parents find it very difficult to answer these questions. Even when they are doctors, they are not able to talk about conception, childbirth, these things. So if you have made it a practice that you will not shy away from any question coming from your child, because your child is asking all these questions with great innocence, and he really wants to understand the world around him. So if you have been honoring his questions in the past and talking to him like a friend, and talking to him with great honesty, but in appropriate terms, then you will be able to talk about stammering also, and then there will be no unresolved issue between you and the child. Thank you. Over to Harish. Harish, I just want to know how much time do we have, me and Amit?
Very fun question that one of the participants said, what I can do to prevent my child from stuttering. Is there anything I can do so that my child will not develop stuttering?
Can you repeat the question once again? Not
Yes.
very clear.
Yes, sir. Participant asked that is there anything I can do so that my child don't develop stammering? I am a stammerer. My child is not stammerer yet. But is there anything I can do to prevent my Chat from family ceremony.
I will pass it on to Dr. Amit Bajaj. In America, they may have invented something new, which we don't know.
No, 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 no big inventions yet. But there are pretty good criteria that are available to predict which child is likely to be more persistent and which child is likely to recover. There's a lot of research that has been done in the last 10 to 15 years that sort of indicates that children who don't grow out of it have a certain have certain features, and children who do have certain features. But I think what is very important is the role of the environment. That is absolutely crucial. So I think this gets back to a lot of these questions get back to a very similar point about uh, creating an environment at home where stammering is actually supported, that stammering is not like it's because one of the things I think one needs to understand across the age span, I think, about the stammering experience, and we already know this ourselves, but I think just making it very overt is important, is that you cannot force fluency. That concept does not exist, because there's no way you can force a child to be fluent. If the child is going to stammer in some way, they're going to stammer in some way. So preventing the stammering, the best is thing you can actually do is to create a supportive environment at home in which if the child stammers, they feel supported, because once they feel supported, it opens up a lot of options for the child about what they can do about that experience. If they're not feeling supported at home, then we are going to hide it. The child is going to hide it. And the hiding, the avoidance, all that behavior that's going to start early is going to shift the experience in a way that stammering is going to erode over time, in some way or form, quality of life. So if you want a, a bright future for your child, which all of us would do, I think the best thing to do is to support the child, whatever speech the child really has, and then seek help to develop skills further should stammering present and should stammering persist.
To further explain this last line, you can encourage your child to learn classical singing. You can enroll him for the theater workshop. You can encourage these activities which forces him to talk to other people and enjoy fun. All these things will help the child to shake it off easily. Back to Dr. Shweta.
Like to ask one more question. The question is that what should I do to create a very positive environment with my family members if I am a stammerer? A positive communication environment with my parents, with my spouse, with my children. Overall, what should be the ideal communication environment in family?
I'll just share quickly a couple of ideas which come to me, and then I'll invite Dr. Amit also. I think in family, if you talk about it openly about stammering or stammering issue in the family, it will help to create a more open atmosphere. And you can also sort of set boundaries that my stammering should not be bullied in my own home, not by my cousins or by my father or by my elder brother or sister. These kind of things can help. And whenever there's a self-help group meeting or whenever there's a any online meeting where they can participate, you should really encourage your family members also to join your national conference or your local SAG meeting or a lounge meeting. All these things can help to create a open and accepting atmosphere for stammering in a family. Dr. Amit, am I missing out something?
No, I think those were on my list as well. I think the only thing I would add is, create some time in a very purposeful way to have a collaborative communication environment. And that means maybe it's 10 minutes a day, maybe it's 15 minutes a day. And the younger the child is, I think it becomes even more important that we do this collectively as a group, that, where a child is talking, or there's a conversation going on, and the child a has all the talk time that they need to say what they want to say. When the turn taking that is going on between the family members is actually more equitable, so nobody is like dominating the conversation, because the more the child experiences, the more, I'm still thinking about this in the context of a young child, the more the child experiences uh, an opportunity to communicate, an opportunity to talk without interruption, the more the child experiences an opportunity to speak and communicate without judgment and evaluation, better they're going to feel about themselves. So I think, but that has to be done in a very purposeful kind of way. So in a lot of speech therapy, particularly for young children, I think we've lost him, Sachin.
Huh?
I think
Yeah,
we
yeah,
lost.
like that. Yes, only two of us are here.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
we
think.
can just wait for 1 minute and see if
Yeah, let's
they.
wait a little bit. Yeah.
The technology always fails you at the last moment. in in
Yeah,
India.
that
Earlier, they
happens.
were having all this audio, video, everything fine, was working fine.
Yeah.
But just for this session, you've got to take a class today.
Arey, nahi, I have Friday no classes. I'm at home today, taking care
Okay.
of a few things at home. Yeah.
And how's the dog?
Dog
Dog
is
is okay?
going on. Dog is going strong, strangely. She's about 13 years old now, but she had an ACL rip like earlier, about 6 months ago. But her hind leg was a little bit, she was limping, but even that's okay. So she's all right. Hanging in there, like all of us. Uh,
Miracle of life.
the
This is
miracle.
miracle. चलती रहती कैसे भी हो जिंदगी चलती रहती है.
चलता रहता है. Yes. Okay, they're back.
Yes.
Yes, actually, the weekend
It's
problem.
okay.
There was some
But can you hear us?
Yes, yes, we can hear you very clearly.
Okay, so I can request Dr. Amit Bajaj to carry on. He was talking about how family can help the child in creating a accepting and open atmosphere for stammering. Over to Dr. Amit.
I was just talking very specifically about creating time where everybody can participate and create a welcoming environment for communication. I think I think it's important to be able to be purposeful about it, to be intentional about it. And it could just mean 10 minutes a day of checking in collectively as a family. I mean, if the schedule and the family dynamics allow for it or can be created, I think that's going to be very, very valuable, because as long as children who stammer can experience opportunities for communication that are judgment free, they are going to be much more accepting of their own experience in the process, because children are heavily dependent and reliant on the perception of adults, and particularly the perception of adults they have towards them. So the more we can normalize the stammering behavior at home, and importantly, the more we can create a communication environment in which the child can experience normalized stammering, but also some more fluent speech, because there isn't a lot of pressure to communicate, better the child's experience is likely to also be.
And one more thought came to me just now, that if the child is older, like a older teenager, then the family can also adopt the role of accountability manager, or they can help in video recording. For example, if the child has to record his own conversation talking to a stranger on phone, then the mother or father or sibling can say, "Okay, I will do the recording for you." So in this way, family can become partner with the child in his recovery, in his or her recovery. Sometimes family thinks that I have hired a therapist and my job is finished now. Now this therapist will come and she will teach whatever needs to be taught. to my child. And that is a very unfortunate understanding. Parent still has to take care, has parent still has to take the ownership of that recovery process of the child. Over to Dr. Shweta.
We would have liked if you had visited personally, but we are still happy that both of you joined at least online. And a special thanks to Dr. Amit Bajaj sir, who made efforts to join so much early in the morning. Thank you very much.
Before you wind up, I've got just one question as a feedback. Avinash Horo is there. Is he there? Avinash Horo from Nagaland?
Hello, sir.
I just want to ask you, Avinash, in the light of this discussion, what are the two things you will be doing uh, in the view that you may be having a child soon? As you mentioned that you have been married for 3 years and now you're contemplating to have a child. So, in the light of all this discussion, what are the couple of things you will try to do?
The first thing that you have talked about, you have mentioned also, be a role model for your child. So I will try my best to be a role model for my child. And the second thing, sir, which would uh, I would like to do that. I would still the principles of empathy and sympathy in my child, and I will, depending on his or her age, I will instill the values in my child, and I will brought you know if the various concepts of things like what should you do. I would have that discussion with my child with an open mind. That's all.
Thank you so much, Avinash. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Shweta.
We'll wait for the next session.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We are winding up this session because the next session is starting soon. So we have time constraint. Thank you so much, Dr. Sachin and Dr. Amit, for joining us and answering all the questions. Thank you so much.